The now instant classic that was Jonas versus Mayer. The backlash from the outcome of this fight, as far as the judges for the IBF Welterweight title, has raised more questions than given answers. Let's talk about the fight once more and what it could mean for both fighters going forward. Saturday, January 20th, IBF Welterweight title fight between champion Natasha Jonas and challenger Mikaela Mayer is one for the books now. Natasha Jonas was able to retain her title by a 10-round split decision that turned out to be more unpopular internationally than it was popular locally. Her record now stands at 15-2 with 1 draw and 9 KOs. Jonas fought fearlessly in this fight in defense of her title. I was even known to have spoken of her as I thought that this is one of the best performances of her career. She's a fighter that has had some ups and downs in her career, and she has faced quality opposition along the way. However, her challenger from Saturday in Mikaela Mayer saw someone who brought the fight to her in a most unexpected way. I believe that Jonas entered this fight thinking that she would have the ups on Mayer with her experience and also her southpaw stance, as Mayer had never faced a southpaw professionally. Mayer's record now after the split decision loss is 19-2 with 5 KOs. People may remember her most from a couple of years ago as a super featherweight champion. She had moved into a high-profile match against Alicia Baumgardner, where she lost her championship at that time in a unification match. That fight was very close, and I had remarked after that performance the difference in either woman winning that fight was going into the final rounds. Neither person stepped up enough to my liking to secure victory, therefore the decision could have gone either way. That would not be the case on this night in Liverpool, Jonas's hometown, where she was put in a position and forced to fight for her title. It was an exciting fight. It was a fight that had a lot of back and forth. I noticed that there were a few moments within this, because of the pressure that Mayer had put on Jonas, that she felt compelled to sit down on her punches in certain instances. And that looked very good to the judges, but Mayer was pressing the action. She was dictating the tempo of the fight, and she was taking the fight to Jonas, the title champion. In most considerations for decisions, you have to look at the person who's applying the pressure, who is looking to force the initiative, and it was definitely Mikaela Mayer when it came to the later rounds of this fight. One of the things that she was able to do in her pursuit of the champion was to apply pressure behind moving with effective aggression. She was using right-hand leads. She was forcing Jonas back into the ropes on many occasions, and she was eliminating some of the lateral movement that Jonas oftentimes opts to use as a daintiness of getting in and out of range for her own particular offense. turned out that the southpaw position, because of the way that Mayer attacked, was not as effective as Jonas thought she may be. Either way that you look at it, both women were performing at such a high level in this fight. Rounds 6 through 8 were particularly strong by both parties as they began to set down on their punches and fight on the inside against each other. This is where Jonas realized that Mayer was a lot stronger than she thought she would be. Even though Jonas has come from lighter weights herself, Michaela, who was, again, like I said, super featherweight champion, is now a welterweight, and it shows. Her strength was clearly obvious. This was a classic battle of ebb and flow between these two women as they put their championship spirits and hearts on the line. I noticed that as the fight persisted, Jonas opted to tie Mayer up more. She didn't have the answers of just fending her off. Even her punching prowess was not enough to deter the determined challenger. It was something awesome to look at because you typically are accustomed to seeing these type of fights between the men's division of fighters who are fighting at the top level. Both women are technically proficient. They operate behind jabs. They have the full arsenal of punches. And Mayer, who actually excels at throwing short shots on the inside, this is where Jonas had not anticipated certain strengths. The short punches, the short shots were something to see. It's always been an exciting facet of Mayer's game, and she definitely dictated the tempo behind this, which made Jonas circle more and stay on the outside, occasionally darting in and out and trying to attack from angles. But she found herself starting to clinch Mayer more and more as the later rounds ensued. The thing about tying someone up and clinching and holding to kill the clock is something that's a tactic that's used, but in women's boxing, where the rounds are only 2 minutes, you can kill a great deal of time off the clock with 3 to 4 clinches in a round. Simply because of where a referee may be positioned when you do it, it takes them a moment to get to the action to separate the fighters, and then the fighters have to reset and get back into the action. In 2-minute rounds, that time goes away very quickly. This fight could have benefited far more from being a 3-minute round fight, or at least a 12-round fight, because the clinching and holding to kill the clock was a tactic that Jonas resorted to. It was similar to what we saw from Caleb Plant when he challenged David Benavidez last year. As the rounds went on and Plant got fatigued, he looked to hold and tie up and clinch, and he was killing time, buying time to get through the later portion of the fight. I saw the same thing here, and the difference in this fight and that was that Mayer wasn't being given the credit for fighting through, whereas Jonas, because she was in her hometown, she was given favor, I believe, in decision, which was not so fair. But it was still a classic battle by both women who did their best, who performed at the top of what they had to offer. If Natasha wants to consider her future, there is something else on the table that she may take into consideration, and that is the fact that this fight turned out to be exactly what women's boxing and the fans yearned for. And she may, even though the interest may be there for the pursuit of unification, if not undisputed, she has established something that sometimes is difficult in the sport of boxing until it really gets going, and that's rivalry. She has now established a tremendous rivalry between herself and Michaela Mayer. It's not a vendetta rivalry, but a competitive rivalry. These two women bring the best out of themselves and the best that women's boxing have to offer at the welterweight division. And it is a must-see rematch waiting in the wings. The only thing is, I would like to see it in a more neutral type environment, because you want to give the consideration for both fighters and not have angles from judges due to hometowns and things of that nature. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Leave comments and let me know what your thoughts are regarding this tremendous fight, and should there be a rematch in the works for the future. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.